What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today to unpack the newest Cosmic Crucible Season 7 here, as you can see, with the update featuring Cabal. There's going to be some sizable room updates, but as well, the return of a common one that we've seen already in the past. So we're going to be going through each of the room updates today, as well as go through what our game plan is going to be. I already do kind of have a preemptive game plan in terms of what my defenses are looking like, as well as what that's going to result from an offensive standpoint. Let's get right to it. So first and foremost, we always want to talk about the global rules, because with each and every one of these Crucible seasons, there's always a general a global rule that's going to be applied across all the rooms, and this is going to feature obviously the newest Crucible team in Cabal, similar to how Sinister 6 and Superior 6 were also featured before. Now you can see Cabal characters that are inflicted with vulnerable status will also have the opportunity now to also return that back and apply vulnerable. So it just makes them even more versatile in terms of not having them as Raider or Isolate Skirmisher, just because they're going to be naturally doing that already if they have that condition. In addition to that, they're also gaining 200% damage and lowering their armor by 50% when they hit below that 25% HP threshold. So really becoming glass cannon when they reach that point, but they can hit like an absolute truck, especially if they have some Raider ISO 8s. That's going to scale extremely well with this potency increase. On top of that, villains on their turn, in addition to the Cabal allies being on their team, are going to be also bearing themselves for 10% HP. So I think that helps a lot with the overall sustainability, especially some of these tunes not actually being relevant, but they're going to be made relevant again with the passive bonuses provided by Cabal. Characters like Dr. Doom and Emma Frost I'm looking at, just because they'll be, important once again, and it's going to be great to see that kind of value return if you built up these tunes previously before. And then similar to what we've seen in the past Crucible rooms, is that on defense, all characters are gaining that extra increase to HP and damage, and as well, each completed attempt, they're also going to be gaining a stack of exhaust, assuming you were not able to fully finish. So that way, it kind of levels the playing field, if you will. So overall, pretty standard, guys. Now let's jump into each of the rooms. I've already kind of slotted in which team I'm going to be potentially adding in, and remember, this is subject to change. But what I do foresee is that this is going to be a moving and revolving door through each week, because some of these rooms are quite interesting. Some teams may work consistently, and once you figure out the counter, you may want to switch it up. But I do appreciate that there's going to be a lot of theory crafting potential here, especially with some of these new rooms. So room 1, I do think is the most interesting. Depending on the ISO 8 that you have, there's going to be some different effects. So Striker with an ability block on that tune is going to gain additional damage. A Raider character on turn is going to clear ability block and actually heal. And then finally, the Skirmisher ISO 8 will also apply ability block on each successful attack. I think each and every one of these ISO 8s are very important, because I don't think you should have a full team of just, like, for example, Skirmishers or Raiders. I think the mixture is going to be important, and for that reason, I think Gamma is going to shine, or Extreme X-Men. I'm personally putting in Gamma because they've always been pretty devastating to deal with, but Gamma also consists of a great variety of ISO 8s. You can switch around some. Typically, some of them are already mixed up with the Skirmisher and Raider, so you don't need to typically build a lot of this, but I think Gamma is going to be a strong contender for this, just because they have that great mixture. And on top of that, even if you have characters like that are Striker that do have the ability block, they're going to be gaining the percentage damage for that time. And I like how She-Hulk can also cleanse as well with their natural passive. So just a good synergy, honestly. And I'll definitely share those thoughts though once I see how that first week or two goes with this team. Next up, we got room 2 here with the raid room bonus. So with this room respectively, the resistance is going to get lowered for these raid teams, and as well as healing, basically to account for the last time we've seen the return of this room, right? Last time it was Bifrost that had just insane amounts of resistance and proving to be quite difficult to get through. Thankfully, there was a good counter in that, but I mean, still people had to, work through that tough Bifrost team. So I think Bifrost does make the most sense, because you're going to be getting value for a team that's fallen out of the meta quite a bit already, and just to use them, I guess, elsewhere in the game is going to be kind of nice. If you don't want to proceed with Bifrost, if you're stopped already, building them up, Pegasus, Extreme, Hivemind, and Deathseed are all viable options, being raid teams, and they're going to be getting their respective bonuses. I do want to say though that I think Hive Mind is definitely going to be an X factor. I love the fact that Void Knight getting his raid bonuses, he's going to be ability blocking at the very beginning, and it's going to be a mass ability block. I think Extreme is going to shine exceptionally well, and Pegasus has always been good. Death Seed, probably not so much. I just have them there as an option if you guys already built up this team, because you do need them for obviously Apocalypse's upgrade here. So I think personally I am going to be going with Bifrost to feel it out, but depending on what I see and what I go up against, I'm ready to pivot, because I don't think that's going to stay too long here. Hive Mind is definitely going to be the one interesting one. Room 3. So if there is a character that has a taunt on your team, they're going to be actually gaining offense up on turn, and as well applying assist now to all allies with offense up. So it works kind of in tandem with each other. I think there's going to be some opportunities here to theorycraft this one. Extreme X-Men works really well, I think, because obviously there's some inherent components, but they just shine generally pretty well with the taunts and so forth. I think Black Knight and Rebirth can definitely be one that I'm interested in trying out, just because, you know, naturally there's a couple of taunts already with Captain America and Black Knight, and being able to share that around, and I can use again my Rebirth value. I think this is going to be a pretty decent team to get at least a strong offense pulled away for Room 3 respectively, especially with the notable defense from Rebirth combined with Black Knight, and I can take advantage of the value of those invested teams already. Room 4 here mainly favors villains abilities costing 2 less. So Cabal is going to really shine here, because although their HP is going to get lowered again on top of already what the passives are in the global rules, well, they're going to be getting their abilities off quite easily, right? And I think Black Knight, Rebirth, and any kind of villains here in conjunction would be a good defense. So this is the one I was looking at closely, because Room 3 and Room 4, I could definitely swap that around to see how it is. But I'm personally going to put in Death Seed, just because many of my villains on Death Seed are going to be getting that reduction. Although they're lower HP, they're going to be hard to get through, just because they're still a really good team to get, you know, to do damage. And you have Archangel refreshing with the passive energy as well when there's any kind of enemy falling upon us. So I'm going to take advantage of that. It's likely going to pull the Cabal team if my opponent does have them built up. I think Superior 6, Sinister 6 is also another good one to add in here as well, with many of them being villain characters. So not too much craziness there, but it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be an efficiency battle, and whether or not folks are turtling and adding some impenetrable defenses, right? Room 5 here, we have ultimate abilities applying blind to the primary target, and then once blind actually does apply, that tune speed is actually reduced, as well as armor. So obviously the more blinds the better. If you add in characters that already naturally add blinds, such as Pegasus, that can definitely give you some value there, especially Iron Man Infinity War. I think Infinity Watch is a really good defense here, although they don't have additional blinds from their abilities. They have the safeguard at the beginning, so they're going to be kind of you know, impermeable to that at the very beginning, being immune, and as well being able to hold their own. And each and every one of their ultimate abilities is also going to be landing a blind. That's going to be notable, right? So again, it pulls away a good team, I think. And Infinity Watch, I'm going to see how they do, but I think this one is a nice one to slot in. And it's been amazing to see how resilient this team has been over the past Cosmic Crucible seasons. They're just a team that never goes away, and we're constantly getting value from that. And then finally, guys, last but not least, on Room 6, nothing to scream home about, but it gives a little bit of value for the Ghost Riders that you do have in your arsenal. So on crit, you're going to be applying bleed to the primary targets from all characters, but if you do have Ghost Rider as an ally, you're going to be gaining 20% armor if there is bleed that's already applied. In addition to that, the Ghost Riders also give an extra 20% crit chance to all allies. So this one just screams Secret Defenders, honestly, with Robbie Reyes. If you want to add in a character for extra survivability, but I think this is going to be big, even Apocalypse or Super Scroll, just to put them over the top. But Room 6 is likely going to be an efficiency battle, especially with Ghost Rider giving those additional crits and armor and applying more bleeds based on the crits. It can definitely be a scary room if you're not prepared for it. So I think that right now, everything in green, like I said, guys, is currently what I'm going to slot in on defense. Having said that, then that means basically every other team that's not mentioned is going to be my batting order or my offensive option. So first, I don't have Cabal built up just yet, but obviously once I do, I am looking seriously at Dr. Doom, Emma Frost, and Omega Red. I think they're going to get some really revitalized value there. I don't think it makes sense to take Kang away from Masters of Evil, because that's still going to be a really good offensive team here. So I'm going to leave it at that. We got Darkhold, we got Hive Mind, we got Masters of Evil, as I mentioned earlier. We still have my new Warriors and Eternals combination, Sinister 6, Superior 6 synergy, Tangle Web, and on the bench as well, I did not mention, but we have Apocalypse, Super Skrull, and Nova as my gear tier 18 plus characters that I can pivot with. So I think this gives me more than enough offensive options to clear what I need, but as well, a pretty decent defense here to see how my opponents are going to pivot. And at the same time, we can also adapt accordingly from a week to week. So yeah, let me know what you guys think below. I think this is a great summary in terms of what we're going to be expecting, as well as some of the best teams. Always an interesting time. But remember, next week we don't actually have any Cosmic Crucible. It's going to be a 1 week break, and then we can further assess if there's any more changes. But this is looking like another fun season. And remember, the rankings don't change again. Just with it being a shorter season and all. So do let me know what you think in the comments below, guys. Appreciate you checking out the video. Thank you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.